Westeros!
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast. I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle. And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners with Sam, the Slayer 4 on deck. Gentlemen, how you doing?
I love it. Love to see it.
Like the chapter?
I'm trying to find the beginning of my book right now. But yeah, what if I had the beginning of the chapter, I would have said, yeah, this was... Yeah, man, I read it. Yeah, this was a good one. I like this one. You know, I feel like we got a solid time jump in here that kind of cut out some dumb stuff. I think that we would probably had to, like John, like just waiting around.
Like training in the yard and Sam just walking
yeah,
along
being
the wall.
Pissed, right? Yeah, exactly. So we kind of jumped right back into more...
Politics.
Yeah, which is weird, right? I feel like I've talked down on some of these chapters in the past, so I don't know. Maybe it's the mood I'm in today, I guess. But
well, we are doing something interesting too, and it hopefully shouldn't affect the viewers too much, but today we're doing a back-to-back recording. Not that the show hopefully doesn't really affect you guys as viewers, but this is something we don't normally do. Kyle just read Sam, like earlier in the day. We're doing the recording. While Jeff and I do the spoiler section, Kyle's going to read the next chapter, which is John, and then we're going to record that one.
Fair.
So that's another kind of like...
I think it'll go
not
smooth.
only cool that it's back-to-back, but they're back-to-back related, right, in the same spot.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That gives me a reason to get excited for the next one, right? Because I actually get to read it here shortly. Although I guess I could read the next one.
Yeah, you don't have
after,
to wait for your whatever spoilers you're ready for. We're going to learn your prediction right away.
Yeah.
And also, like, I mean, I know we were talking to He Who Shall Not Be Named Glow the other day about how far we are in the books now, and I mean, we're getting close. Like so
6
it's
more or something like that.
to the end of this one. So that's kind of like also like
Persistence.
what's fun about these is we're getting some story wrap ups.
sure.
I guess.
Yep. All right, so I'll bring us in on a quick synopsis. Sam is watching Gilly and the baby with John and Val, so we get a little kind of knowledge of what happened post-battle, and then it's really who's going to be the next Lord Commander of the Night's Watch and the vote that's going on right now.
Yeah, Kyle likes this one because he's in a good mood. I like this one because numbers. We get numbers. Like, straight up, we know how many people are in the Night's Watch. For, like, we heard there's about 1,000 early on. We get, like, hard numbers today, right? So there's a lot of math in this one.
Full count, yeah.
Percentages and stuff. Yeah, so I like this one for that reason.
Here's my one thing. Can I just ask you a question about the vote before? There's people not at this at Tower
They mentioned
Black?
that. Yeah, at Castle Black.
Castle
Black.
Black.
They do
You're
explain
good.
this,
Yeah.
yes.
So those guys just don't get a vote, or do they mail in a vote every day?
Yeah, so I can go over
I'm saying this is a fake election.
there are some definite problems. Again, it seems kind of good that it's democratic in the first place. Like, every brother gets to cast a vote, and that's just straight up how we're picking who's in charge now. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's cool. Two-thirds.
And this goes to support Jeff's whole nobody means more than anybody else stuff, right? Like that whole argument.
Except-
Absolutely.
No lords.
Throw a Dolores Head in there. He gets a couple.
Although he is Lord Jano Slint in the vote, I think, right?
I don't know.
They
feel
keep
like I
using that
remember
title,
that
man. It just pisses me off. Like,
So, to Jeff's point, yes, everyone's supposed to count the same. But to Jeff's objection about the election, there's a major flaw here. If you're on duty, you can have your brother cast a vote for you.
you mail in vote.
Yeah, you can kind of just say, like, hey, Jeff, I actually have practice when they're doing the vote. Can you just vote for awful Yarwick for me or whatever? The other one is the commanders of the castles vote for their garrison. So Cotter Pike left a bunch of people
He gets every.
He just gets to fucking pick. He's like, yeah, there were 150 people over there, and they all voted for me.
yeah, same with Dennis Malister. So they each get to vote for their castles. Yeah,
I don't like that.
exactly. So again, seems kind of fair, but there's a few problems with it that way.
Although, I mean, they do come down to like one vote, like, and it being John, like they get to the right number at the end somehow, right? Like that's the weird part. It's not like there's like, hey, there's 600 extra votes in here. Like, who's lying?
And a blind guy's in charge.
Yeah.
Well, and Sam's there.
Yeah.
Eamon knows. He can feel it. All right, so let's jump in. Sam, John, Val are watching Gilly nurse the new baby who won't have a name for another 3 years because that's just what they do. Kind of a weird, wilding fact.
Yep.
Just in case you die, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
Probably. Born in Battle, The Little Prince. I do have a weird question that I'm sure you guys can answer, but I mean, like, why does Gilly have to be in charge of this? Like, this woman Val obviously just had the baby. Like,
Val
why
did not
can't
have the baby.
Val was his sister. Dala had the baby.
Well, does that mean Dala's not around?
Yes, Dala is dead.
They do mention, I think, that Dala did not come out of the battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that she got like attacked. I'm saying she died in childbirthing.
Yeah, that's my assumption too.
Understood. So then this baby is now okay.
And
Understood.
Gilly
So
has a
Gilly's
baby,
the
so
one
she's
with milk
got
and
Yep.
milk in the boobies.
Understood.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. So we learned about the battle, right? Basically from John's POV.
Yep, he just stood and protected. Pretty much didn't do anything.
He got the horn though, right? Like that's pretty sweet.
He got the horn, the baby, and he got the prince and the queen.
And Mance is captive.
I
think that's probably why you were confused, Kyle, is that they're calling this girl the Wildling Queen.
Or I think they're calling her the Wildling Princess.
Okay.
But yeah.
Who's that, Val? Yeah.
Val, because she was a sister to the Wildling Queen. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Sam's shocked about the Castle Black that he came back to.
Popping. Over 1,000 people.
Tons of people. Yeah.
It's popping, but it's also fucked.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's shit all burned down.
The stairs,
like,
the Great Hall, right, is, so. But the King's Tower finally has a king in it.
A king. Yeah, he's like, this first time in living memory, like, this has been a long time coming, right, that a king has come up here, and now here he is.
Yep.
Stannis gave a shit.
Yep, so Sam was at, last time we saw him, we kind of mentioned this at the end of the last chapter, he was at the Night Fort where he ran into Bran, right when Bran was going through
at the hole,
right? The hole in the wall, the Black Gate. And yeah, he says...
Well, it wasn't the hole in the wall. It was that hole in the ground in the kitchen.
Yeah,
whatever, right?
They went through a well down to the Black Gate. Yep, and then that's where they passed through.
Gotcha.
Because that's a weird gate, right? It had the big weird wood face in its mouth.
Yeah, like talk to him,
exactly.
right?
It's like, I feel like it's like Super Mario. Don't you walk through like a weird mouth looking like Yoshi?
Definitely like some weird video game like that. Yeah,
Happy
for sure.
Gilmore.
Like, good.
Isn't he walking in that mouth when he's playing putt-putt?
Nah, he just puts it into the clown mouth, and the clown spits back out. I
right.
saw a funny meme. Speaking of current events, that was the original Hawk Tua, was the clown spitting it back.
Spitting the ball back. Yeah, so we're kind of jumping around a little bit. That's how Sam ended up getting back here. He basically ran into Cotter Pike on his way. Or no, Dennis Mallister. He got Dennis Mallister was coming.
Oh yeah, on his walk
back with Bowen Marsh and all the injured people from the battle. Right.
Yeah.
The Bridge of Skulls.
And that's when they ran into Sam, and he finished off with them.
Well, I mean, that was his plan. He's like, if we keep to this, only the Black Brothers use this, and it'll be fast. So hopefully we run into somebody.
Yep.
Here they did.
A couple new banners Sam wasn't used to seeing. We've obviously seen them a couple times. The Queen's fiery
the
heart, and
Nelson wants to go through them. Fox of Flowers of House Florent, Turtle of Estermont, Swordfish of Bar Emmon, and Cross Trumpets of Wensington, as well as the Fireheart.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Yep.
But the Queen and Shireen are not at Castle Black. They are in Eastwatch by the Sea.
With his fleet. So, I mean, that kind of gives a little more to whoever, Tywin or whatever we were talking about that with, right? Like, there should still be boats around there. But he said there was no boats, right?
No boats at Dragonstone.
Yeah.
He said Stannis left her at Eastwatch is that's the far east tower of the wall.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. Thank you. This is what happens when I read too fast.
All good.
Yeah, so there's a cool moment when Sam gets back and he sees all his friends, right? Like Pip sees him, gives a little whoop. Gren's happy to see him, gives him a big hug or something like that, right? Thought he was going to break him. And they're like, run the doors, it's Sam the Slayer, come back from the grave. Like, this would just be like a great, even for Pip, like, your boy just came back. Like, these guys had to think Sam was dead, you know what I mean? Like, they've been back at the wall for how long?
Yeah, especially when he's like the people that came back and there was no Sam. So it's like he was also getting carried off the fist. Like,
yeah, there's been an army outside the other side. So it's like he couldn't even if he walked up today. I think he thinks about that, right?
I mean, yeah, what happened was lucky that because like otherwise he even says it. He's like, I would have walked right into the back of Mance pretty much.
We would have fucked.
Yeah, John's also proud of Sam. Just kind of the way he like looked at him, right? It was like, he had a sad smile to see him, and John's kind of been wearing the sad smile for. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, John's like been put to death essentially. Although that's obviously been put off a little bit here, because John's alive.
Yeah, well, I think it's slightly like tied into this election that's happening, right? Like the guy that wants to kill John isn't in charge at the moment. And that's why John's like, Sam, you fool. Like, he gets into it. Like, Sam, you fool. It's been happening for days. Like, if this guy wins, I'm fucked. I think is kind of what they're getting at there.
Dead man walking.
But he's still able to vote, but he's been stripped of all duties because Alistair, and they still see him as a turncoat because he was protecting Val and the baby, right? Anything that he did was, like we said, it was going to be a lose-lose for him in this mission. Like, he didn't kill Mance. He protected 2 wildlings.
Exactly. They sent him out there to kill Mance, and he didn't do that. Like, he was talking to Mance and, did not kill him. So, interesting little factoid that I think they mentioned that, like, they burned somebody. Like, there's this red woman that Stannis brought with him, and they burned somebody for good wins.
Back at Dragonstone.
It's possible.
Likely, right? We know they're burning people.
More than likely.
yeah.
I mean, we don't hear about Davos here, right?
No, we don't. Interesting.
So, I don't know. I hope it's not Davos, but
He probably burned nice though.
and as a sailor, he might give you good wins.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else it would have been, right? Like that's the only person that we know that was pretty much should have been fucked. But
I'm sure there was some other people on Stannis' bad side.
Yeah,
hopefully.
So now they're talking about Mance and like, well, rumor is he's about to get burned too. Val's like, can he see his son before he goes?
Yeah, can we introduce him to his son?
Yeah, and let me talk to him, right?
Yep.
But John's like, look, you're talking to enemy number one here. Like,
yeah, he was a deserter, which is already like death. But not only did he desert, he then gathered an army and brought him back to fight our order.
Well, yeah, and I'm Jon Snow, who's like in serious trouble right now. My word means nothing. Like I can't do anything for you. Like,
John being the one to ask wouldn't be a good thing.
Yeah, he is yeah, exactly. You're right though about Mance being a deserter that gathered an army to come and attack the wall.
Yep. Sam's friends tell him about the cool magic sword he has, though, and how it glows like it's got some sun inside of it. John comments about like how Mance and Craster kind of didn't like each other, but now their sons are sharing a boobie.
Yeah, just that's not
funny how things work.
Yeah,
small world, you know.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Paul Rudd meme.
I got the two princes of the North, pretty much.
Well, I don't know how royal Craster's blood is.
I mean, he wasn't he the Lord of Craster's?
If he didn't get sent out to the woods, he would have been heir to Craster's kingdom.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but he would have got it sent out to the woods, bro.
Yeah. So then the next part I have is John and Sam about to walk. They walk out and they start talking about Gilly. And
yep. Throughout the chapter, there are a few mentions that Sam has of this distinction between Queensmen and Kingsmen, right? There's the Queensmen on the door to like their cell, but then there's Kingsmen on the door to the tower. It doesn't really, even Sam basically says like, yeah, this is just, it's a religious thing. Pretty much these are the people who are for the Red God, the Queensmen are for the Red God, Kingsmen are for the Seven, or they never converted, I guess. But yeah, so then they start talking about, it's cool too. Sam and John each have a wildling girlfriend.
Yep.
And that's kind of what they talk about.
That they loved.
Yeah, and Sam gets sad, right? He's like, man, she's a great person. I need to help her. And like she helped me, right? Like she's the reason I'm here today.
Made me braver.
Essentially is what he's saying. Yeah, and like I had to live for her, is what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
He's got a plan, you know.
Yeah.
Can there be honor in a lie? Is what he asked John. How this kind of broaches it.
It's a deep question.
It is a deep question.
I like how John's like, yeah, there can be, but you're not gonna fucking get anybody to believe you that you're lying.
I wouldn't try it, Sam.
Like,
Which is funny because Sam's not lying, but he kind of thinks about it a little bit later here. He is keeping some information from John that would be very useful, right, about his brother and
Oh yeah,
Bran, the whole Bran thing,
right? Well, I mean that's kind of lying.
He's definitely lying. He said your brother's dead. Yeah.
So,
like
John's like, you suck at lying. Don't do it face to face. And then here's Sam lying. Yeah,
here he is the whole time.
He's rolled a nat 20 on deception.
That's why you can't trust nobody.
I mean, to be fair though, that brother dead thing is like so like that's such a established fact for John, right? Like he's not looking for a lie on that.
Yeah, just don't upset the status quo.
So Sam's idea is to lie to his parents that he got Gilly pregnant north of the wall, and this is his bastard born son, and that they should take him in and care for him.
Is there a reason? I guess just they need something to do with him. Like they can't stay here. They can't stay at the wall.
Well, that's kind of what John's saying, right? Yeah, you can't have a woman, and if she's here,
I think it's more so Gilly. Like if it was just the baby.
Oh yeah, because it's a boy. You're probably right. They might have just raised that thing.
It's a boy. They're like, hey, you're gonna. Yeah, we got another body in 10 years.
We got a lifer.
Yeah.
And this one, once again, is his name.
That's so it's probably for Gilly. Yep.
But you know, and keeping Gilly and baby together.
Yep, we'll claim it as mine.
I like how somebody was like, yeah, but they'll figure it out when he wants to, like he's good with the sword or something like that.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. I love you, but you're a little bit of a pussy.
Well, he admits it enough. He knows. Hey, know your personnel. Sam knows.
He's Sam the Slayer, dude. What are you talking about? He's got more kills than you fucking idiot.
That's true. He's on the frag count. It was the dragon glass, though.
What does that even mean? Like, hey, the sword did the work?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So John's heading off the train. he's been relieved of his duties. Bowen Marsh was convinced, or not convinced yet, but like until they get the matter sorted out, like he can just kind of fuck around. And
he's gotten a stay of execution, I think is what they would call that in real life, Jeff.
He's on death row.
Yeah.
But you have free reigns and you can go practice fighting us.
I mean, where's he going to go, right?
Yeah.
South? North?
I guess he could leave, but Jon is too honorable, though. We all know that.
Say Jon just goes and hightails it.
He's the new man's.
New man's.
He like goes out there.
Man's 2.0. Yeah.
He says, "You're now mine." Yeah. I don't know, man. I guess he deserves that. I think that's probably like what they all agree.
I mean, he's been under trial though. Like,
I feel like Alistair and them know he's not as traitorous as they're making him out to be.
Yeah, just their chance to get rid of him.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, who's in charge? Like, obviously, we don't know who's in charge. Aemon did a trial with him, cleared him of wrongdoing, and like they reopened the trial.
We've been in his head, so like we know he's innocent, but like look at it on paper. He killed Corin. He rode with the wildlings, climbed the wall. Like it looks bad on paper, right? Like
he's not fully innocent.
It's kind of that, like, so he's morally he's always done the moral thing, I would say, except for maybe the Ygritte stuff.
Except for fucking Ygritte. Mm-hmm. He even admits that. He's like, I did honestly break my vows with Ygritte. I think he said that to Aemon.
But at the same point, like, he had to, right? Like, that was still part of him staying undercover. Like, that was the whole thing. Is like, if she's gonna vouch for you, then like,
I mean, just think about him as like an undercover agent. Like, yeah, and I'm sure undercover agents are doing a whole lot of things that they don't want to do to not blow their cover.
He followed Corin's instructions pretty much exactly, right? Yeah. So, like, did he desert?
No, I would say no. My vote would be no.
It's one of those gray areas. Hard to say. And again, I think even back to Jon thinking about it when he first had sex with Ygritte, he's like, okay, the first time was me doing what Corin told me, but the second and the third and the fourth and then the 20th, like those, maybe I was crossing the line. Like, so agreed, yes, but and to the other point, like you can't just do it once and be like, nope, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like Ygritte's gonna think that's weird. So yeah, you got to just.
I don't know.
I think he's fine, but I can see how that like pokes at him, right? His conscience.
I think everything he did was for the good of
the watch.
The watch.
I think the biggest thing is probably killing Corin Halfhand. That's the biggest thing. Like, you killed the brother to then go run around and sleep with Ygritte and climb the wall.
Yeah, and he has no proof that Corin told him to, but he did. Like, I mean, we were there. So it's
like everything is speculative,
looks bad for him,
especially after he killed the person who told him to do these things.
Exactly.
Right. So, and Sam's trying to tell him, like, look, Alistair and his friends are the only ones that really believe that you're a Turncloak. And then we kind of learned like who was up for Lord Commander, and Alistair was receiving some votes, but no one likes him from the old training days. So like he backed out pretty quick.
Yep.
And is backing Janos.
Well, hang on. So we kind of skipped the part where like didn't he say something like tell Sam like you can't do that with the kid?
I think he came to the conclusion that like if they accepted him, he would have a decent spot in the dad's like house guard, and like his life wouldn't be awful.
Yeah, I think the last point on it is he basically says like, okay, this could work. It just like make sure Gilly can play this, like pull this off.
Okay, that's what it was.
If Randall sees through this, is not gonna like from what you told me, this is not gonna go well for anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did kind of talk. Anyway, so we get through who's getting voted for, right?
It's just Alistair at this point, and then they kind of it's more so like they just keep talking shit on Jon that he's a wildling and he's a warg, and people started calling him the warg, but he hasn't seen he hasn't seen Ghost in a while, and he hasn't even dreamed about him. He's having weird crypt dreams.
Yep, all my dreams are of the crypts of the Stone Kings on their thrones. Sometimes I hear Rob's voice and my father's as if they were at a feast, but there's a wall between us, and I know that no place has been set for me. So, and then this is where Sam thinks about Bran being dead, which is weird because Jon doesn't say Bran. He says, I hear my father and Rob on the other side of the wall.
Well, he knows they took the long sleep.
But it's interesting. Maybe that's why he's not hearing Bran in his dreams, because Bran's not actually dead, right? Like maybe he would be hearing Bran if Bran was actually dead.
Yeah,
there's some type of like, you know what I mean, like prophecy dream.
I like how he's like, man, Bran's got a fucked up plot line right now. I love how that's what Sam says, pretty much to himself. He's like,
he's like, what the fuck?
He's like, if I wasn't there, man.
It's like, yeah, thank God I'm not crossing paths with that character anymore. There was like weird Raven and that strange kid and the guy on the elk.
Moose,
giant elk. Yeah, He's like, hey, I'm starting to not even believe that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Talking about 3-eyed crows and shit. Like, fuck that. I'm glad to be back, back in reality. Yeah.
Yeah. So the last part of the conversation between John and Sam is that like he believes at some point Janos is gonna become win the vote. He's been campaigning. He's the only one growing. The other guys that are up there seem to be like losing a handful of votes each day, but Janos has gotten stronger. We learn more about the details of like what the vote needs to be a little bit later. But he keeps telling him like, "Open, you're being stupid, Sam. Open your eyes. It's been happening for days." That gets repeated throughout the chapter.
Yeah, from here on out. Yep.
Yeah.
And so John's basically, I need to go hit something with a sword. John's been doing a lot of training, even though his legs will beat up because, like we said, there's nothing else he can do. And he's even been training the newer recruits because
no one else is.
The last guy who got named after Alistair left. Died right somewhere, maybe at the Bridge of Skulls, and Alistair it doesn't care enough to do it.
Yeah, nobody's mastered arms.
So John's kind of like makeshift mastered arms. Another good nickname, one of the guys that John has been training, Hop Robin. I think it's the first time we hear about him. He has a club foot, kind of along the same lines as Spare Boot, where he's probably hopping around because he's got a club foot.
Like a robin in the yard, like a robin in the grass.
So, yep. Then I think here's where he starts thinking about some of the election logistics. You need 2/3 to be voted in. I did the math. Let me check it out real quick. There's 589 people, all votes tallied.
And John.
That John is the first. He looks at 2 rounds of votings. He looks at yesterday's and today's. When he looks at yesterday's, there's 589, and today's there's 588 because John's missing. So 589 total.
And there's been 9 total votes, right?
Yeah, so far 66% of 589 is 389. So you need 389 votes to become Lord Commander. That's the magic number.
And the most we got so far is 213 in the first day, right?
Yeah, so I haven't got the numbers yet. Sam goes back to the Macer's chambers. Macer's still working with Mance or something. He helps out doing Macer stuff with like Wounded for a little bit. And then he sneaks up to go take care of the Ravens. And on the way, he checks the count from yesterday.
Okay, so this is number 8 that he's reading here.
He's reading 9. Tonight is the 10th.
Oh. Okay.
Yep.
Then I misunderstood your counting earlier.
There has been 9 so far. He checks the count from yesterday, and today, which we get in this chapter, right, is the 10th.
Gotcha.
So yeah, on day 9, Dennis Mallister was in charge with 213, Carter Pike 187, Janice Slint 74, Othel Yarwick 60, Bowen Marsh 49, Hobb 5, and Dolores Ed 1. Sam thinks this is Pip making jokes.
So you said Janice Slint, but it says Sam calls him Lord Slint here, just for Jeff's satisfaction.
Yeah, don't get me started.
I don't know if people are voting for him like that though.
Well, they vote with like coins and nails and stuff.
I know. I just want to see if like Eamon says it later or something when they count. Is what I'm trying to make note of.
Like they call Alistair Sir Alistair, right? And like so, I'm assuming, which is bullshit, but they're keeping these titles, which they shouldn't be. And I'll die on that hill.
We've had that before. Yeah, we'll let that go.
Yep. But yeah, then he gets up to the Ravens, and there's not a bunch. I guess some more have come back. Some of them still prance around saying snow.
Well, that goes back to the last chapter, John chapter, where we were like, oh, that Raven said snow, so it means that Mormont's there. But now here, the first thing he's saying is that this whole room full of them are saying snow. So now I don't feel so confident in what I said the other day.
Good points, because you guys did bring this up, and I didn't feel super confident about how the whole Raven thing worked. So I went back and I looked. In John 2, Clash of Kings, John found Sam with the other stewards watering the horses. He had 3 to tend his own mount, 2 pack horses, each bearing large wire and wicker cages full of ravens. The birds flapped and screeched as he approached. A few shrieks sounded suspiciously like words. Have you been teaching them to talk? He asked Sam. A few words. 3 of them can say snow. One bird croaking my name was bad enough, said John, and snow's nothing a black brother wants to hear about. So Sam says he taught, at least at this point, which is
really early on,
kind of early in Clash of Kings, but only 3 know snow.
I'm gonna say 8 figured it out by the end.
In this chapter, Sam says 3 ravens come back saying snow. Again, he's not super clear on that these 3 ravens are all saying snow. I just think it's interesting. I guess I have seen theories too that say there are only 3, and it's these 3, which would imply that the one we saw yesterday, again, maybe these ravens were hiding in the woods or whatever, or the ones that we saw in the last John chapter. It would imply that one probably is Mormont's raven if the 3 that know how to say snow didn't get back till now. Does it really matter? I don't know. The other thing is when Sam was with Cold Hands, there was a ton of ravens saying all kinds of shit. I think they were all talking like Mormont's raven. So there's clearly more than one raven that can say crazy stuff. So I don't know. It's just one of the things that people do speculate in fandoms is the weird Ravenness. So I thought I would go back and look into it.
No, that's cool. That's why we're here, Nelson. Let's bring that stuff up.
Yep. So 3 Ravens are back. They're saying snow. What does he say? Does Sam do anything up here? Not really, right?
Not really, no.
He thinks about one of the. He's like,
oh yeah, we kind of talked about that. The King Who Cared. I mentioned that earlier when we were talking about Stannis being here. Yeah, it's like, how could you stand behind Joffrey or anybody else that doesn't give a shit to actually defend the realm? Like, Stannis seems like the real deal to him.
Yeah,
but the Queen's men make him a little uneasy.
Yeah, but at least they came. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Sam goes down, has dinner with the boys. Pip, Dolores, Ed, and Gren.
No sign of John. He didn't want dinner that night.
Boring. John's boring. He's probably moping somewhere.
You're like, you imagine if you were dropping all these opinions on John if Glow was here?
Glow wouldn't be taking it. Yeah, so Pip was telling Ed about the Scarecrow Sentinel contest and how Ed's Scarecrow was winning until Ron Lake took 3 in the last day and passed him. And Ed is like, damn it, I don't win anything. And he's like, Watt always had all the luck. He's like, when the Wildlings knocked him off the Bridge of Skulls, somehow he landed in a nice deep pool of water. How lucky was that, missing all those rocks? Was it a log fall? Gren wanted to know. Did landing in the pool of water save his life? No, said Dolores. Said he was dead already from the axe in his head. Still, it was pretty lucky missing those rocks.
It's pretty funny.
I hope I would be voting for Ed for sure. I'd be Pip here.
It's good shit. Comedic relief.
You just love Ed.
I do love Ed. It was pretty lucky.
Ed could say anything and you'd be giggling like a little school child.
I mean, he's definitely pretty funny. Like,
he's got good comedy. I'd laugh at him.
I love him.
Yep. So they're talking shop, and then another vote's coming soon. And Sam's kind of looking around, seeing like the Pike men are on one side, the Mallister men are over here, and then oh shit, there's Janos and Alice are out campaigning.
Yep.
Yeah, Janos is in like the best spot in the room. He's definitely like taking advantage of the situation.
I was thinking that was a little symbolic too, right? Because you have Mallister and Cotter Pike are on opposite ends of the wall, and you have Castle Black in the middle, right? That's kind of where Janos is sitting, right? He's sitting in the position physically that he would if he won Lord Commander. Yeah. And yeah, like we got people whispering, right? Like he's whispering to Bowen Marsh, I think, and Alistair's whispering to Othel Yarwick over in the corner. But yeah, I guess the other thing, they're eating mammoth. Sam doesn't actually like it, but kind of badass that they're just like eating some of these mammoths.
It's an old tough mammoth. It's got too much muscle, not enough fat.
Yeah, I mean, well, probably all mammoth is probably gross, right? Like that's like a big ass animal.
I don't know.
Like it's so muscular. It's gotta be so tough, dense.
I feel like there's a lot of animals that we don't eat. Like elephant. I've never heard of people eating elephant. I'm sure they do somewhere.
I don't know if there's enough, right, to be eating
elephants
them.
Endangered. Yeah.
But like I think like you hear like I watch enough barbecue cooking shows that like cooking buffalo I don't think is like the easiest meat to cook because I don't think they have the same fat content of like a cow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think the reason we eat cows because it's like the reason we domesticated it and have cows instead of elephants or bison. Like we could have domesticated them and raised them for food. Okay. I think there's just reasons we don't because it's like you said, not harder to eat the meat or something like that or whatever. But it doesn't really matter. Mammoth's bad, Sam said, and Sam likes his food. So,
I mean. Yeah, back in the day, they were pushing a bunch of buffaloes off cliffs and eating them, so they didn't
I mean, back in the day, you eat what you got, right?
Right. Eat what the land, what's provided for you.
How fucking awful is that? Could you imagine? Sorry. Let's not get into that.
Just like, what do you mean? The
hurting them off the cliff. Yeah,
smart.
I ain't mad at him.
It's not smart.
Were you going to go head to head with that thing? It'll fuck you up.
Imagine the scene at the bottom of the cliff then.
Yeah, it's going to be awful.
That'd be wild.
Anyway.
They never talked to you about that in elementary school. I got a funny story actually about this. Elementary school, 5th grade. We're obviously learning about this topic, but I had a dentist appointment where I was sick the day. So I wasn't there for the lesson. So my 5th grade teacher tells me to go out in the hallway and I'm standing there not knowing what I'm doing. And then they bring me back in and the whole class is like standing on the wall and they rush me. Right. And to see my reaction was to run away to the front of the room. The front of the room was the cliff. Bam. I died just like that. Real life.
You were the buffalo.
So that was the buffalo. And I ran straight off that cliff.
And you died a horrible death.
Yep. Yeah. No, that wasn't clean. So I didn't fall in a deep pool of water like what? Like what? All right. So, Eamon's like, all right, before we start voting, anybody want to step up and say anything? And Ed's the first one. He's like, hey, whoever's voting for me, cut that shit out. I'm not the Lord Commander.
Kind of. He's like,
I'd be a bad Lord Commander.
But so would everybody else. Like, what's his point? Like, is he saying stop voting for me?
Yeah, that was the best part. No, I think that was the best part. He's like, fuck all these people, right? Yeah. I like that.
We're all bad. And then Marsh steps up. He concedes his race, and he places his support into Janos Slynt.
Yep. So this is what I was gonna say. Say I have duty. I tell Jeff, hey, I want to vote for Bowen Marsh. Cast my vote for Bowen Marsh. That I'm not in this hall. Bowen Marsh steps down. Who do you vote for me?
Who I'm assuming who Marsh is saying that he's now supporting.
Yeah, which is he said Lord Janos, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Out loud.
Yeah, which I'm saying that's the problem because what if I actually want to vote for? If I can't vote for Bowen, maybe I want to vote for Othel.
Tough shit, man. You should have been there.
I'm just saying that's one of the problems with this election. The other thing that I think we should keep in mind is like, yes, Cotter and Dennis each get to vote for their whole garrisons, but theoretically, like Pike brought a lot of his men with him because he came with Stannis for this battle.
Yeah, Cotter Pike sat by the fire, surrounded by rangers from Eastwatch.
Yeah, so again, probably not a lot, but he didn't have a lot to begin with.
Mallister was near a group of smaller group of Shadow Tower men.
Exactly. And so the other thing about Mallister is he was probably fighting people on the Bridge of Skulls, so he probably lost people there, but he didn't bring anybody with him. And a lot more of the people that went out on the Great Ranging, it was mostly Shadow Tower, like Horn was from the Shadow Tower, and Castle Black. Nobody from Eastwatch, I don't think, went on the Great Ranging.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So just in terms of like who has how many people, it's kind of hard to keep track of.
Pike has an advantage just to begin with.
Yeah. But then he has more of the people that are actually at his castle are probably here. So does he? Because they can actually theoretically not vote
on
for
their
him.
own.
Yeah. They probably do because they're from that castle anyway, but they could theoretically not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're definitely going to vote. That he's like their dude. Like, not their dude.
I'm just saying he doesn't actually get to cast the votes for them like he does everyone who's still back at the castle. They could vote for somebody else. Right, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, then the vote happens, and Sam takes it back to the Maester's office, I'm assuming?
I think they just kick everybody else out. They're like, okay, you guys can all leave now.
They just do the tally right there. And the sum I have is Mouser and Pike both lost votes from what they had. Janos is up more, but still in third place.
Yep.
And I think Ed even got up to 5, right?
He got 2.
He got 2.
Oh, did he get 2? And
Hob got 5.
Hob got 5. So Sam's worried, but like they're still far away from an actual decision being made.
Yep.
Eamon's kind of chill about it. Like, the brothers will figure it out. It takes time.
Well, I think Eamon's approach is like, Sam definitely does not want Janos to win. He's like, oh no, this is bad. like Othel or Mallister and Pike are losing ground while Slynt is gaining ground. This is bad. And Eamon's like, it's not for us to say if it's bad or not. We're just like the Maester crew here, right? We each get to cast a vote. We just count. Maybe it's good. If that's what most of the brothers want, that's what most of the brothers want. It might end up being good at the end of the day. Then he goes into how long it can take sometimes. Yeah, sometimes this shit goes on for a while.
Almost 2 years. 2 years of voting.
It's close to
kind of crazy. Yeah. Like at some point, figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, just what do you do when you have to make a major decision in one of those, like, in between there? But
good thing nothing happened during those 2 years.
It seems like Bowen Marsh is kind of acting leader right now. Like John says, he's not allowed to be on duty because Bowen Marsh called him off. So it seems like he's
the highest ranking guy. Was he the highest rank
Lord
before
Steward.
This vote?
Yeah.
Oh, and he came back with Mallister, right? So that's why Janos can no longer kill John because Mallister
Bowen showed up.
Bowen Marsh showed back up and kind of said, "Hey, I'm in charge, actually."
Yep.
Okay.
Now Sam's back with Pip and Grant again. Now they're in their late night drinks, and Sam starts spouting off. Man, had one too many.
Yep. He's like, they're losing ground, but if one of them were to back out and support the other one, then they would have almost 2/3.
Yeah, he's like, we need to join forces of these other, like the guys that are kind of
Pike and Mallister could be solid Lord Commanders. Like we need
either one of them will work, and we need one of them to support the other one because together they have almost 2/3. Together, if you add their votes from today, they have 372, and like I said, the magic number is 389, so they're only like 15 votes away.
I thought it was 360. Shit, yeah,
so they're close.
We need to get somebody up on the green screen talking about where these votes can come from.
yeah.
It's always the best part of the election. Well, let's turn it into this small 10-person county in Alabama.
The Shadow Tower is a red state. Eastwatch is a blue state.
Where are they going to go?
Yeah.
And someone has to talk to them. Like, who's going to be the guy? Like, step up, Gran. Pip. Like,
Sam's like, someone. And they're like, yeah, someone should. And then Gran says, who's someone? Pip's like, Gran's so dumb, he thinks someone might be him. He's like, yeah, whoever someone is, they should convince Stannis to marry Cersei when they're done with the dead. Like, again, because like we said, Pike and Mallister, their families feud already, right? Because Mallister's like the closest land family to the Iron Islands, and Pike is a bastard from the Iron Islands. So like they already kind of have this like family rivalry just from where they're from. And they also just like don't get along like viewpoint wise. So we know these guys hate each other, and Pip's like, yeah, get Stannis to marry Cersei too. That's how hard this is. Gren's like, Stannis is already married. And Pip's like, what am I gonna do with this guy,
point, brother?
He's like, but what if we explained? And Pip's like, whoa, when did someone turn to we? You got a mouse in your pocket? One of our boys in college used to hit me with that all the time. I was like, we got to do this. He's like, you got a mouse in your pocket?
There we go. What's Sam do, Kyle?
I mean, he's fucking Sam the Slayer. He's got to do it, right? Nope. He says he's too craven to face it. I think he's gonna put up. Right? I think he's gonna do it. I think he's got to
step up to the plate.
Yeah, so that's the end. Pip and Gren are like, Pip's like, I'm the mummer's monkey. Gren, look at Gren. We all know Gren. He's not doing this.
Yeah, he's like, he's the Maester's like best friend. He's like he's a highborn.
You killed another.
He's just fucking Sam the Slayer. Like, I mean, yeah, he's got to do it. Yep. So I think maybe he'll find, like, that's been his arc, right? Is to find himself and find his courage. So hopefully he finds some courage.
All right.
Let's keep this one short. Yeah.
Right, sounds good.
Sam steps up to the plate.
Maybe we'll find out if he read or not in the next chapter.
Which is John 14.
Do you know that, or is that your guess?
Nah, it's my number. I think it's around there.
It's John 11.
Is that it? We were just, I guess Arya was the one that was.
Yeah, John Arya at 13.
All right, there we go. Bye, Kyle.
See Kyle the next one for John 11. See the rest of you guys in the spoiler section. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye, Kyle. See you on the next one in a few minutes for John
12.
11. God damn, we fucked that up. I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, sometimes we're wrong. I thought it was 12 though.
See, this is John. Holy shit! This is Sam 4. Next one is John 11. Jeff, do you have any spoilers for this one?
John becomes Lord Commander.
John becomes Lord Commander. Big spoil.
What does Sam do? Does he stand up and like preach for John? Like, does he go to these people and they like both like fuck you, and then he's like, all right, fuck it needs to be John?
Yeah, he basically tricks Cotter Pike and Dennis Mallister. He goes and tries to convince each of them to side with the other. They both say, fuck that, I hate the other guy. Then he has this idea. He's like, actually, Stannis does. At the end of the Stannis chapter, he says, the Night's Watch are going to learn, or at the end of the John chapter, Stannis says to John, your Night's Watch are going to learn that I'm not patient. And what he does is he says, you have to decide today. Like, you're going in there and you're just voting over and over and over and over again. Like, we're not waiting a day to revote.
We're at 2/3.
Exactly, until somebody's picked. So basically, or he says, I'm going to pick somebody for you, even. I think maybe is what Stannis says. So I think when Sam goes to the two of them, he basically says, hey, he has this idea, hey, if you don't vote for, if we don't come to a conclusion, he's going to name Janos. Because I think they both hate Janos.
Why would they hate Janos? Just because they've got to know him and he's a loser?
I don't know. They just don't like him, I think. Okay. So he basically says, but they won't vote for each other. So he says, what about Jon Snow? Gets them sold both on Jon Snow. And then there's weird shit with Mormont's Raven showing up in the kettle.
Interesting. And just like chanting snow.
There is. So this is one of the videos that I think Preston Jacobs has a great like 2 or 3 video series on. I think it's called The Rigged Election of Jon Snow or The Rigged Election of the Night's Watch or something like that. It's great. He goes into the numbers. He goes into like weird stuff with the Ravens and Cotter Pike and Dennis Mallister and like how Sam oddly becomes brave all of a sudden in the next Sam chapter. Like, I think it's a really well done series. Even if you don't believe all of the magic-y stuff he suggests, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to be learned from that video. So definitely check that out. But yeah, that's definitely true. Did you have any other points?
Well, we got the baby points.
I almost spoiled some of these in the middle. Yeah. So what's up with the baby?
Well, we're about to do the old switcheroo.
Okay, yeah. So this is interesting because of what's going to happen with the babies. I think the more interesting thing is this is a huge Jon parallel, right? What's the accepted theory for Jon?
Oh, Jon is not the bastard of said father.
Exactly.
It's a secret. It's a big secret from...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, when you actually get the baby swap in, right, when we actually end up swapping babies out, then you're even getting we're doing part of this lie to save you from a Baratheon king who would be mad if we found out about.
I mean, how about just another one, like the old, like, I don't know, if we're going that deep into like Dany being Rhaegar and Lyanna's and Jon's, Ashara and Ned's, and then they swap them, right? Like,
yeah. So there's definitely baby swaps happening. I think this is definitely like a big parallel. I mean, especially the way it starts off. Sam asks Jon, "Can there be honor in a lie?" This is basically like the Ned Stark question, right? Like Ned Stark lies about Joffrey at the end to try and save Sansa, right? That's kind of an honorable lie, and it's very believed that Ned Stark is lying about being Jon's parents, saying he fathered a bastard, kind of owning up dishonor, but overall it's an honorable lie. So yeah, I think there's some definite parallels, foreshadowing, whatever you want to call it, to Jon's parents there. The other interesting thing too is Dalla's baby is called Born in Battle, right? And it's not quite a battle, but when Jon was born, his mother also died giving birth to him. Wow, some shit was probably popping off at the tower
outside. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of parallels there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm buying your parallels for once in this world.
I really like that one. That's like when Sam starts asking Jon about like is there honor in a
lie?
lie?
Especially because it's like, Jon, this was your, like, even if it wasn't a fake, son, right? It's still a bastard, incestual wildling that, like. There's
a point where Jon says to Sam, like, he's like, "Would it be a good life?" And Jon says, "A bastard growing up in his grandfather's castle, like, Jon's like, that's kind of like my situation." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And he's really not even like a fake bastard. Like, doesn't actually belong there. Not related to anybody. Jon's actually related because of Lyanna. But right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. So I guess the other thing then to talk about would be Mance is getting put to the fire, which I guess is more so. We could probably talk more about that in the Jon chapter next, because Stannis actually talks about.
For which part? Sorry.
Mance getting put to the fire.
Yeah.
But Stannis goes into more detail about it, so maybe we can wait till the next one to talk about those spoilers.
Yep. One of the other things I had was Jon is giving credit in this chapter for capturing the horn, capturing the baby, and capturing Val.
So it is his wife. It's his wildling wife.
That's what I was wondering. Does capturing count as stealing? How does that work? Like, everyone's giving credit to Jon for this. It seems very...
Is Val cool with it is the question.
Yeah, does she accept it? Again, we kind of get more into that in the next chapter too, so we can wait and talk about that one there. Last point I had, and this was one I actually almost spoiled. I guess we could have maybe mentioned it, but I think it's interesting that Kyle thinks it's Davos who got burned for the wind speed to get here.
Somebody actually did get burned. Is it the Florent?
It's Florence, Lord Alistair Florent, which is interesting because that's Sam's grandfather.
Oh, shit.
So it's funny that Gren didn't know who it was. He's just like, hey, some guy that got burned. Like, if he would have known, like, oh, yeah, they burned the...
I didn't know Sam was related to the Florents.
His mom was a Florent until she became a Tarly. His mom is Alistair's daughter.
His mom is Alistair's...
Alistair's his grandfather.
Okay.
His mom's dad is Alistair.
His mom was a Florent.
Yeah.
But they're not supporting the Florents and Stannis. They went high garden.
The Tarlys, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's a Tarly now.
Yeah.
So, just a little interesting thing that he's the one that got burned. I think we learned about that later.
I guess there's one more thing. I don't know if there's anything to it, but the Crypt Dream. We usually talk about some dreams.
Well, that's a good point. Crypt Dream
and the war of it all. We get back with Ghost at the end of this book, right?
Yep, last Jon chapter. He goes out to Ghost, and that's when he's like, "Nope, I can't take Stannis' deal." Again, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. So
okay,
but yeah, in this one he does say, "I haven't had Ghost. I haven't even dreamt of Ghost since I climbed the wall," which again is like hints. The other thing we can kind of talk about is the rate. What happens to that's in the next one too. Sorry, we read these back to back, so I'm kind of getting things mixed up. I'm glad that didn't happen in the non-spoiler.
Yeah, you're worried about me. I'm locked in.
Yeah. Well, it's only kind of spoiler related stuff. I forget what I was even talking about there, but it makes you wonder if the wall stops. It probably does stops the magic or whatever the dreaming ability is. Then the question I have then is, how does Bloodraven do his thing?
He's just more powerful.
And I think the leading theory is
he was there when they built the wall, and he knows the.
Well, I think it's that all his power works through weirwoods, and there are roots that go under the wall.
Right.
That all weirwoods are actually connected underground.
Yeah. Okay. I'll accept that. I'll accept that.
So yeah, I guess last thing that we could talk about, you kind of mentioned earlier. I kind of jumped to a different thing, but like what actually happens with the babies, right? What does Sam do? Sam takes
Dalla's baby,
Doll's baby.
And they head to Old Town and...
Yep. And leave Gilly's baby.
Wait, my question was, did they name Little Sam yet?
Gilly's baby?
Yeah.
I don't know if Gilly's baby...
Do they ever name him Little
gets
Sam?
named? I think Mance's baby does get named. It gets named Eamon.
Okay. Eamon Raider?
Because Gilly makes it up after Eamon dies, I think. Eamon dies on the ship ride, and she ends up naming the baby after him, I think.
Wait, what? So what happens to... What do they do with Gilly's baby? Where
stays behind.
At the wall.
Yeah.
He's the lifer.
He's the lifer, yes.
So John's the one that did the switcheroo, right?
Yeah, John's the one that ends up swapping babies.
Because he doesn't want people to burn?
Exactly, because he knows that if... He knows Melisandre's looking for king's blood. And,
right.
and they assume they're considering Mance a king, so this baby has king's blood.
Didn't Melisandre hide... Oh, she kept Mance, right? Is that the thing? Like, yeah. It was her doing to keep...
Yeah,
Mance.
but I don't think John knows about that at the time.
Okay.
Which is interesting, you're right, because if she wants to burn king's blood and they actually think that Mance is king's blood...
They want to save it for the right time?
Yeah. Also, it makes sense where a lot of the Mance is Rhaegar theories come from, because there's obviously a lot of parallels, right? Because with the whole, like, baby swap thing, right? The baby that's getting swapped is Mance's baby. Jon is Rhaegar's baby, right? He's the baby that got swapped in that other parallel. Interesting, if you're going to the parallels there, Sam is playing the Ned, right? He's the one claiming the baby as his own. That's not really kind of taking a tint. It doesn't really affect his honor because he's in the Night's Watch, so he's already kind of like with the criminals. But again, just kind of cool to have the Sam Ned comparison there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get going. We got more work to be done
for sure. We'll see you guys in the next one for Jon 11 in a week. But again, the interesting part for us is we're going to record with Kyle right now. So
yeah,
should be a little interesting for him.
Like, comment, subscribe, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube.
Yeah, do it all. See you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye. Bye.